Let me tell you why this is such an important election. We have got a man in the White House. And let's be honest, look, he is a good family man. President Obama is a good husband, a good father. I've only got two problems with the president that is in the White House today. The first, we have got the most incompetent president since Jimmy Carter was in the White House. My second problem with him is that he is the most liberal president since Jimmy Carter was in the White House. It is so important that we work to elect Governor Romney and make President Obama a one-term president. Now, let me tell you why I say that. Let's start with the incompetence. Let's listen to the president's own words. You remember, he said at the beginning of his term, if we can't turn this economy around in 3 years, it'll be a one-term proposition. We heard President Clinton say in 2010, if we can't turn this economy around, kick us out of office. Well, let's make sure that's one promise they actually keep to the American people. Let's kick them out of office come this fall.
So, listening to you speak earlier on the flatbed truck, I got the drift that you have an issue with President Obama. You mentioned the whole jobs gaffe, so to speak, that he did. Can you elaborate more on him? You contrasted him with Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter.
Absolutely. Look, I think this president has been the most incompetent, most liberal president since Jimmy Carter. And what do I mean by that? Look at incompetence. 23 million underemployed, unemployed Americans. President Obama promises he'd keep unemployment below 8% if we passed this stimulus. Instead, it's been above 8% for 41 months. You now have our median family income has fallen over $4,000 since he's been president. You look at the number of people working, almost 500,000 fewer Americans with jobs since he became president. Median household net worth at a 2-decade low since he's become president. He simply has made and broken too many promises. When you look at how liberal he's been, government spending, federal government spending now 24–25% of GDP, a record high since post-World War II. You look at now $1 trillion of debt every year since he's been president. He promises he would cut the debt in half at the end of his first term. He hadn't done that. The point is that we can't afford another 4 more years of this president. We can't afford another 4 more years of his spending, his borrowing, his taxes, these policies. It's simply not sustainable.
Now, you're considered as being one of the front runners if people throwing your name around as being VP. First of all, how do you feel about that? And if not you, what other candidate or candidates do you think would be great to fill in that spot?
Sure. Look, I'll refer all the VP speculation of the campaign, the Romney campaign, but I will say this. This election is not about Joe Biden. No disrespect to Joe Biden. This election is about Mitt Romney and President Obama. A lot of elections, sometimes the candidates are pretty close in life experiences or views. These two candidates couldn't be more different. I think voters have a real choice. President Obama is going to have to try to distort Governor Romney's record, try to attack him, create things about him, because President Obama can't run on his own record, can't run on his own broken promises or his own policies. As a result, I think voters are smart enough, however, to look beyond all those distractions. As a result, President Obama is throwing out his team's throwing out all this nonsense. I think voters are smart enough to know this election is really about how do we move out of this economy? How do we make sure that it's not more borrowing, more spending? We can't keep borrowing $1 trillion a year. Now our debt is above GDP. That means we're mortgaging our children's and grandchildren's future. You contrast that with Governor Romney's record. When he was governor of Massachusetts, unemployment below the national average, per capita income growth above the national average. They were losing jobs when he got elected governor. They were gaining jobs when he left, one of the top 10 turnaround states in the country. That's a record he can run on. President Obama can't run on his. So I think this election is really going to be about the difference between the two candidates running for president and where they want to take our country.
So nothing on the VP?
No.
Thank you.